to rock?
Yeah, we're already rolling. So.
Oh, cool. We can. Everyone can hear my.
So any energy sponsorship, fucking send my way.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll chug your caffeine.
You guys ever had the Rise fuels?
I've seen Rise.
They're out
I don't
of
think
Texas.
I've had it though.
I've seen them, but I haven't had them.
Yeah, so they're another supplement company out of Texas. They're really popular on TikTok.
I'm out. Get too old, Joe.
They kind of did how like Ghost did with their pre-workouts, where they just did like a bunch of collaborations.
Oh yeah, smart.
So they have a Sunny D energy drink.
Supplements doing that so smart. You get like a Chips Ahoy protein, even if it's gross, it just like makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, I think we were talking about Ghost. I think that's another reason why Ghost did so well. They somehow managed to leverage that like officially.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny to think, and this is gonna be kind of like a low-key brag, but I don't mean to, where people think you're cooler than you are. So like in my last couple Q&As, everyone's like, dude, why doesn't Ghost have a Silent Mike flavor? I'm like, dude, I'm not that cool, you know, like, but it's cool. You think I'm cool. And then it happened again. Someone said, Good Company Ghost collab. I was like, dude, we're not that cool yet, you know, one day.
Yeah, one day.
I would love an energy drink. Like, shout out to Max. I didn't try. Oh, I think I bought it once, didn't we? The mango. Yeah, you bought it for me. Seabass bought it for me.
Mango. It was good.
Yeah, it was really good. And that's fucking sick. And like, talk about building a brand. That kid's a gangster.
I know.
Like, all he does is drink mango margaritas and eat sour candy for like 10 years, then launches a sour candy company and makes a mango margarita energy drink.
Yeah.
I've never done anything that consistent. Except probably bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks. I'm not that good at this game.
I wish that like I had that level of smart that I was like, if I just sow the seeds for 10 years.
You wonder how long it's been in the back of his head.
Yeah, right.
But the energy drink play was mine, and we won't mention names, but we drank a lot of energy drinks on our first podcast, and I wrote a whole business pitch to start an energy drink company in 2013, 2014 that got ignored, but that would have been a huge play because that was a big part of like our shtick.
Yeah.
And energy drinks were popular, but they weren't fitness popular. Everyone was still on the pre-workout NO Explode type grind. People weren't drinking these because we even talked about, even shout out our boys Caffeine and Kilos, talk about a good shtick, you know, like everyone knows caffeine and slamming weights.
Yeah,
it makes sense. And we did coffee and energy drinks like madmen because we're talking for 3-hour episodes. It would have smacked. It would have been so good. And that was pre all these companies.
Yeah,
it's Red Bulls around, Monsters around, and Rockstar, and that was it. But the dark horse that we turned Joe onto, Spike Energy.
Yeah, dude, those are so good.
No one knows. They need to know out there, kids. They don't even know T-Nation. And I haven't been on recently. I do know it hit a little bit of a lull and got a little gimmicky. But T-Nation back in the day, Jim can even speak pre-me, was such a really good source of like real training. You go to bodybuilding.com, no offense, but because they've upgraded. But at the time, it was 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10. You couldn't really learn anything there unless you dug into the forums and then you turn into a Zizbra and meet Alberto Nunez. But if you don't do that, because there was some knowledge in the forums for sure. Yeah. But T-Nation's regular articles were bangers. They're bangers, man. Jetcore, fucking... even Thibodeau stuff was good at the time. Jim Wendler was writing there.
Cressy.
Yeah, Bruno started writing there. Not the Borat character, Ben. I was just talking about Borat the other night too. Yeah. Kids don't know. You probably never seen Borat, huh?
What?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
How have you never seen Borat?
It's 22.
I've never seen Borat either.
Really?
No.
You would hate it, but
I know. That's why I haven't watched it.
There might be pieces you like, because there's like little, like pretty good political stuff that's like a little bit more high tier comedy. You know, there's definitely in your face shit comedy. But you probably don't hate Sacha Baron Cohen because you know he's a pretty smart cat.
Yeah,
know?
I don't hate him.
Yeah,
I just hate everything he's ever done.
No, yeah, he sprinkles in. That's why I think I like him. Is he hits the jackass crowd. I'm the opposite though, right? Like I love everything Will Smith's done, but I don't know if I like Will Smith anymore.
Well, I don't think I ever liked Will Smith. So.
But Sacha Baron Cohen's good because he'll hit the fucking jackass frat boy eat an aluminum can crowd and laugh, but then he'll also sprinkle, you know, like some more intricate.
I think
political comedy in there.
Bruno was such a huge.
You didn't see that, did you?
No, it was such a huge dump.
Dude, a cock sings at you. A literal penis tip sings at you. That's when they lost me.
It went. it went down in flames so hard, so fast that that's kind of a Hollywood legend because social media killed that movie before it even had a chance to get all the way open.
Oh yeah,
it was so bad. But he had a Netflix special after that, or not a special, but basically like his first show was Ali G's show, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that. And he had multiple characters. Bruno was one, Borat was one. And he would run around, and it was I think revolutionary in some senses because he was scripted. And he would play like a reporter or an interview or something, and everyone around him's not scripted, right? So like, there's a little bit of genius in the magic there.
Yeah.
And then he's really good at staying in character and kind of like pushing your buttons,
Which I find creepy.
Yeah. No. It takes a psychopath to do some shit like that for sure. But Bruno goes overboard. But his Netflix special after that was pretty good. He has some funny shit. There's some funny shit mixing in there.
The Dictator has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, those are wild too.
That one's just
Borat just hit at the exact right era. That's why it hit the perfect generation at the perfect time to be a phenom. Really, I'm almost surprised how much it's not talked about anymore because I feel at the time it was so.
All you get now is the "my wife" thing
all of
over
it.
and over and over
Yeah,
again.
it's so good though. Some of it is so good.
Shout out to our friends at Massonomics.
Yeah, talk about it being quotable and shit. It's really good.
Nico says that about Nano all
Really?
the time. Yeah. Shout out Nico Flores.
It's really good.
It's Alexa Nano.
It's really.
If you haven't gotten it so far or read the title here, we've got a guest. We've got Joe Stanek with us.
Hey y'all.
In advance of the meet that we're hosting at the gym this weekend.
Yes. Big undertaking. Biggest local meet that's ever happened in USA powerlifting history.
Probably powerlifting history. I'm just going to say it. Because I feel like people say that shit whether it's true or not.
I'm sure.
Right?
No.
Like for sure clothing companies and people say like, we sold out in 10 minutes. You didn't. I know there's shirts back there. You know what I mean? Like they're fucking lying. So if they're going to lie, I'm going to lie.
Yeah. I mean.
And we're not even lying. Like it easily could be the biggest local meet of all time.
Yeah, so at least I'm sure there's people listening that are like state championships.
That's what I'm saying. We don't care about them. Don't even address them, Joe.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah. Fuck those nerds.
State championships are technically local, but
yeah,
whatever.
You can technically lick my balls.
We don't need any actuallys here.
Yeah.
Actually,
we're gonna dig in though, and Joe, you can bite your tongue, or we can edit out if you say things you don't want
to. Okay.
So the USPA is a fucking mess. It's
oh Lord,
burning bad. And Jim and I have talked even previous to this about powerlifting and where it should go or where it can go and the splits of it. And I was recently around Bart Kwan and Nadeem, and we were talking about. I think Bart actually went the opposite way I thought he did. He wants to get rid of the deadlift bar, and he wants to go some caveman shit, you know? And I was like, well, then get rid of the bench press, pussy, and we'll just do overhead, you know? Like, if you're going to go all the way. But I explained it to them. I see powerlifting at this point with non-tested, we can call them steroid users, and drug-tested, deadlift bar, non-deadlift bar, monolift, all these slightly different rules. I actually don't mind because I see it like car racing. And now you can bitch at me because I'm going to speak out of pocket because I know nothing about car racing. But to my knowledge, different leagues have like different horsepower limits or different aerodynamic limits, right? And obviously they have different tracks they go on. NASCAR's only turning left like Zoolander. Fucking Formula One's cranking corners, drifting. You're really cranking corners. To me, that's how I see drug test and multiply monolift. That, yeah, like you get a monolift with knee wraps. Now we have the highest horsepower powerlifting. Your only goal is to lift the most fucking amount of weight. Where then we go down to, something like the USAPL where we got more slightly more strict rules in terms of equipment and stiff bars, etc. And I make that more like whatever you want to call it, NASCAR, where that's, tightened up. Everyone's got the same horsepower, and now it's just the driver doing the thing. Right. What are some of your thoughts on that? Obviously, you're deep in the USAPL world, despite your personal large amount of steroid use.
Oh, yeah. You can totally tell.
Yeah, what do you think?
So, I think in general, I've always been kind of more in favor of there being a little bit more uniformity. I don't know that I'm quite so far as to go into like the Bart camp of get rid of the deadlift bar.
Oh, what an idiot.
Yeah. I don't know about idiot, but no. I think, to me, I think that the thing that's holding the sport back is a lack of uniformity. Because my counter to what you just said about racing's just huge. You know, like there's so much behind it already. They have the ability to kind of branch out, and we've kind of done that as a sport prior to all of this blowing up.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's holding it back. But I will say, I think that it's cool that people have options because, there's definitely going to be, different strokes for different folks as far as the way that they want to lift.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, there's gonna be people that make the choice to become enhanced. There's gonna be people that want to stay natty. Like it is good that we have options for sure. On my end of it, I kind of think that we're actually going towards a little bit more uniformity as a result of all this controversy. That's yeah.
Oh, because the USPA. I was gonna say the opposite. So I my racing analogy, I like. And in powerlifting, I only really see like 3 lanes that we need. And the issue is that we have 7, right?
Yeah.
Like now we have Powerlifting America, we have USPA or USAPL. Like that I don't like because now powerlifting's fragmented. I don't mind different categories, right? But we're actually just fragmenting. Like you said, we're not big enough to fragment like that. Yeah. And even that, the size doesn't really correlate to me either because look at basketball.
Yeah,
it's the biggest it's ever been, and it's getting a little bit weird now because there's like the G League,
right?
Is legitimate, and there's some stuff like that, and the college rules are changing, so it's a little bit more, but still, it's you play fucking high school varsity, you go to college, and then you play pro, right?
I mean, I guess the reason that I say I feel like we're actually heading more towards uniformity is what I'm seeing across the board with a few different things. So first of all, I'm going to make a bold claim here. I think that the IPF is going to start to lose its hold on the rest of the world.
For sure, because the USAPL is so big.
Yeah,
the USAPL with that, when they did break off, kept what, 70% of the best?
Actually, I would say more.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, there are some people that have, at least at the high level, that have kind of traded in the USAPL banner for Powerlifting America IPF, but the majority are still there. And especially with this new like elbow depth rule. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that.
Yeah, we talked about it all.
Yeah, it's so undefined, and apparently I saw this on a couple people's stories. Apparently, they had a rule about trying to ban sumo.
Oh, lit. Bart wanted to do that too.
Really?
Yeah, Bart wanted to do that too.
Okay, Bart.
I think he might have said, don't quote me, I think he might have said, and I don't disagree with him here, that they could go all sumo. I don't mind that, not having both, because like what other sport do you have an option? It is such a unique thing because no other sports you do that. Everyone throws a football the same way because it's the most efficient way to throw the football. And yeah, your technique looks different, but you're all throwing it the fucking same. No one's underhanding a football, right? Because the technique's the same. I don't mind that argument. Obviously, it's a little bit different when you talk lifting. I don't know. Why do you think people chose the USAPL? Popularity? Like a clout contest, America wins, fucking Rocky type shit. Like why did they go IPF?
So I think between one of them, there's the idea of I want to compete with the best or I want to be world champion.
Yeah.
And at the moment,
are you saying the world sucks, Joe?
I got to be honest. Don't get me wrong. There's still definitely amazing lifters in other countries.
But the depth of competition isn't there.
Yeah,
there's individuals around the world that can compete.
Yes.
But the depth isn't there. Yeah. I was just joking, y'all. I'm just crushing Joe for fun.
No. He's definitely not joking. Just cancel him. Overall competition is deeper here in America.
Yeah.
Like you could take the primetime flights from nationals for the most part, and you could send a lot of them, and they would all place very well at the IPF World Championships.
Yeah, our top 5 is probably top 3 worldwide.
Yeah, and that's so. I think that's kind of where that is. Plus, let's face. I'm just going to put this out there. If I show up to the IPF World Championships and the hardest thing for me is the fact that I'm traveling to another country, that's a problem.
Right.
Like if I show up and I just dominate the rest of my competition by like 50 plus kilos, to me, I don't know. Maybe this is just how I think about competing. Like as a less than mediocre average powerlifter.
Yeah.
If I show up and I just kick everybody's butt, like it's not fun.
Pointless.
It's just
pointless.
like I worked hard and all that, but I'm not taking away from the fact that people have like a high amount of work ethic to even get to that point.
Right.
But yeah, it would feel hollow to know that there's somebody that's either close to me or maybe even ahead of me that's lifting under very similar conditions in a different part of the world. Like I would want, like, I'm trying to think. What a good, like Russ is probably the best example, right? Like he stayed in the USAPL because let's face it, at the world level, he just doesn't have that much competition. He's already won the IPF World Champions. I think twice now.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have anything to prove.
And then again, if you're more from the IPF view or the Powerlifting America view, you just diluted your talent. So now the championships kind of mean less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
So that's kind of my opinion on it, and the reason why I think the IPF in general is going to lose a hold on the world. Plus the fact that USAPL is actually expanding internationally.
There's pro stuff and there's money stuff, and it's expanding internationally. And although there's some strict, lame rules that I don't agree with, they're also, but they also IPF has worse ones.
Yeah,
like IPF competitors can't come hang out at our meet.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's like the dumbest rule I've ever thought. I'm not handing out syringes at the front.
Yeah,
like why can't he come in view?
Yeah,
she.
I don't know.
It makes no sense to me. Like, the coolness of this sport is that it's driven by the community. It also holds it back, but the coolness is that the communities are the spectators. They're the ones that run it. They're the ones that spot and load it. It's not the executives sitting at their desk, and it's not people from the outside that are fans. That's not a thing. Yeah. The fans are in the sport. We're the blood. The federations, a lot of people are bringing this up argument, and you could bring it up with the USAPL and IPF as well, but they're bringing it up with the USPA, is that the federations need lifters. And I was literally just talking to Abby about this. We don't need them.
Yeah.
Abby has a barbell. She's lifting, by the way. That's why I bring it up. But she has a barbell and a bench press right now. She's the power lifter.
Yeah.
What's the federation without her?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
There's zero. So then why are we making bullshit rules rather than bringing the community together? And I even disagree with the PED, non-PED one, but at least I understand it, right? Because everyone just thinks, I don't know, you get secondhand trend or something. I don't, but at least I understand that. At least there's 3 ounces of logic there.
Yeah.
To go to natty, there's zero logic.
Oh yeah.
Besides, that's a gaslighting boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it is. The IPF
it kind of is
the gaslighting boyfriend of the powerlifting.
It kind of is.
Yeah, no.
You better not be looking at another girl.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, also I think about it in terms of if you're a baseball player, you shouldn't consort with gamblers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but does it really rub off? I mean,
no.
It doesn't.
No, I mean basketball's the same way, and that's what's starting to make it cool. Like the NBA's best are going to WNBA games. They're going to the best high school games to go cheer and support that. They're going to college games of their alma mater, and
they go to other sports.
Yeah, they go cheer on their city's team for football and baseball.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes sports fucking cool. And for some reason, powerlifting's we're already not cool. Yeah. We're the fucking losers. So why are you making us even more losers?
I mean, and you see that with a lot of the best powerlifters as well. It just sucks that they can't show up to other meets. Like just as an example, Sean Noriega, one of the best lifters in the world. You see him coaching all the time.
Yeah,
he's at a bunch of meets, stuff like that. You see I see Jesus Oliveras out of Texas at just tons of local meets, either just hanging out or cheering on his boys, or his brother's a competitor. Sometimes he's coaching his brother. You see that, and it just sucks that people have to consider, oh geez, is there a chance that somebody's going to take a picture of me and send it to the IPF and I get banned for this?
The only way to do it is unaffiliated. That's where me, Jim, Bart, we're lucky. We just travel to whatever meets we want, but that's because I haven't drop the knee to the fucking Lord of fucking Farquaad up there, whatever federation is running. And
the point I was making last week is that every federation currently in existence, unless I'm completely wrong and I missed something, exists because people couldn't get along.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and it's that's a tide that needs to be reversed. However, if we actually had consolidation, what would these meets look like? There'd be 1 million people in each meet.
I think there'd just be more on the weekends. There'd be more weekends worth. There definitely is an issue, but that's expansion, right? Because then it's already happening, right? Shout out to Russ again. Russ ran his meet not in his gym because he just couldn't fit it, so he rented a space. I think it would be more. But old powerlifting was like that too, right? A lot of y'all's meets were in hotel lobbies and shit.
Oh yeah, most.
You know, which I don't think's a bad thing. It's cool being in the gym and having it, but yeah, I think the whole thing would slowly evolve and look different, but I don't think bigger's worse. I don't think bigger's better necessarily either, ladies. But I do think it's a part of the piece, part of the picture,
I mean, I think so. If I'm being 100% frank, I think bigger is better when it comes
to dude.
Yeah.
You're gross.
That's not me. I'm wonderfully average, ladies.
That's gross.
but no,
But wonderfully.
Yeah, but wonderfully. It's the motion of the ocean. No, I really think that if we want to actually see powerlifting become something more than this backyard sport that you have to explain to everybody is not the sport where I throw weight over my head and is in the Olympics.
Yeah, and we're not doing curls.
Yeah, or that, or anything along the lines of that, or we're mistakenly called bodybuilders. That's my favorite one.
I'll take that one. That
Yeah,
one feels
actually,
good.
yeah, that one. Does
That one
kinda
feels
feel
good on the ego sometimes.
I think that is the only way that happens is that the sport continues to grow and it gets more and more behind it. Like,
For sure.
Just to give you an example, my friend Jaron, he owns a gym out in Hawaii. Bart's been there a few times. He recently got his whole gym or his whole team from Hawaii that went to nationals this past year, sponsored by Lululemon.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
When we get bigger,
Yeah, more eyes equals more money.
yeah, opportunities like that come up. Like, I feel like, and again, this is my bias towards USA Powerlifting coming out here, but like the pro series that we have a new director, my coach, Brad Couliard. Shout out to you, sir. He's doing his damnedest behind the scenes to try to make this into something legitimate that everybody around the world would want to be a part of.
Yeah,
Like,
you call it pro, you better make it real.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And I genuinely think, if we just get more and more eyes on it, we bring sponsors in, we actually get, like, there's no reason why, Major League Gaming back in like the early 2000s can have like, Boost Mobile and
Red Bull.
Doritos and Dr. Pepper and Red Bull as sponsors. And they're like, a fraction of a size
100%.
of power. There's absolutely no reason why we can't do something similar.
No, I think early days esports is a pretty good reference now. Yeah, obviously esports has exploded. It was big worldwide early 2000s. Korean shit was still monumental.
Yeah.
But the U.S. is caught up now. But you're right. You look at it, 2005 to 2000. Even 15 esports, and it's very similar to powerlifting. It's very community driven. No one's watching that doesn't play video games type of shit.
Yep.
And obviously playing video games is a little bit more popular than lifting weights, but not really, because there's a lot more people. You go to the commercial gym up the street, and there's a lot of people trying to deadlift. They don't know powerlifting. They don't know what the fuck's going on. But powerlifting in general, I even remember, the reason I have an Instagram following is because I was the only fucker posting deadlifts on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason. Ain't nothing special about me. And then now you're scrolling through the For You page, and everyone's deadlifting, whether they're bodybuilder, powerlifter, just a dude, just a chick. Everyone's deadlifting. So those type of people can build the community. But again, it's the federations, and not one in particular. It's all of them, I think, are a little stuck on their high horses where, obviously the USPA has got its own problems now, but a lot of them, because they didn't help grow the sport, despite what they think.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Candidos, the Omar Esau's, like the Barquans, the Me and Jimbos.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason powerlifting got bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And so for them not to kind of like see that or try to grow with that kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
It really does. And so it's kind of like the new school, old school stuff really kind of hitting the point right now, I feel like. And so eventually, obviously, it'll change, and change is good, whether it'll be painful or not. But that's the biggest thing I see, and that's what I revert to every time. And shout out to Pioneer. Pioneer had a big paid meet coming up, and they were doing it with USPA, and they took that same stance. Like, we don't need a federation. The federation needs us.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just running the Pioneer Classic unsanctioned.
Yeah.
Same money, same judges, because the judges denounced the federation. So the quality is going to be the exact same. And what else do you need? You need a barbell and some plates. Like, fuck the rest of you.
Yeah, it really.
It's like a strike. It's like, MLB, NBA going through strikes.
Yeah.
Because there's no player union here, we're just grabbing the bull by the horns.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth.
I hate to say it, but I'm going to throw it out. Like 10, 11, 12 years ago, Donnie Thompson was actually saying that lifters should have a union.
Yeah.
And
agree.
make the federations come to the lifters.
I've talked about this for a long time. Lifters and even social media content creators need a union.
Yeah.
Because every other sport has it. The UFC, that's what they're missing.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul, shout out to fucking Disney Channel, bro. I was not a fan before, but that's what he's fighting for. These fighters to have some fucking backbone together.
I got a Jake Paul thing I got to show you.
Yeah, show me. Is it with Tyson Fury?
Oh yeah, aren't they? Or isn't he's supposed to fight his brother or something?
Yeah, and so he's in an interview and he's like talking shit, well, lightly, and then Tyson Fury walks in and his face fucking turned ghost, and Tyson was super cool about it and just said what's up, but Jake Paul's like, oh fuck, I'm dead.
Yeah, literally.
So look, watch this knockdown punch that doesn't actually connect.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of, but are you sure it doesn't hit the right temple?
No, it doesn't hit him at all. 'Cause there's another angle that shows it
maybe.
whiffs.
Yeah,
it's
he
a
does
huge
kinda
whiff.
But does
It's
he
a
actually
whiff.
knock down or does he stand up?
He's knocked down. He gets back up.
Yeah. No, that's not. I don't think that's fake then.
Yeah,
Because you're just dodging it and you lost balance.
Yeah,
That shit
that's what I was
happens.
gonna say.
Yeah, I don't fall that it's fake. Those guys were all American wrestlers out of Ohio, where you're from.
Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.
But they're
Steelers.
they're right next door.
Same thing.
I think they're from
apparently.
southeast Ohio.
Yeah, they are literally.
So
next door.
those are tough kids, bro.
You
I
call
wouldn't
me,
put it
you
past
call me
them.
Jake Paul, dude.
Yeah, dude, you're probably tough too. I like Jake Paul now. I really do. I don't know about Logan. Logan's on some shit, but I kind of like Jake. I don't know where we're headed, but
I got something.
go.
All right. So, given what we just talked about, what's our worst take for what powerlifting is going to look like in 5 years?
Our worst take.
Worst take. Then we'll do best take after.
Okay, give me yours so I get an idea of where this should be.
Yeah, do you have one? I can make one up on the spot.
Okay. So number one, TikTok is banned in the United States.
Oh,
So we all have to rely on
Renegade.
Instagram, which then reformats itself even more TikTok-y.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's still not got the same thing. And the popularity of powerlifting that's been driven by social media
yeah, it gets stagnant.
gets stagnant. We lose
How many years are we looking forward?
5.
Okay.
We lose that constant influx of the youngins that we're getting now.
Yeah. Which you've probably already noticed before, Jim and I, because we just kind of stepped out of the COVID world. But like our gym members, the meets we've ran and the meets we're about to run, the average age is like 23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's insane.
we have a ton of teenagers
Yeah.
doing this meet.
Yeah.
Like I've never had to order so many medals just for the purpose of the fact that we're awarding teenage.
Yeah, which is fucking rad. 'Cause, like finding a healthy habit at that at 18
Yeah.
just makes to me, and it's not, I'm sure we could find some data, but like you're just going to be way less likely to get blackout drunk through your 20s like every other idiot. You know what I mean?
That's
just,
true.
Just
Because
that
it affects
alone.
your performance.
Yeah, just that alone's a win to me.
There's no way it doesn't affect your performance.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to understand that.
Yeah.
There's no way it doesn't affect your performance. And so the federations that are sort of at the mid-level now drop down and become just regionals. They have trouble getting 40 lifters.
I feel like that's already an issue. Talking about to argue myself, where I think some lanes are good.
Yeah.
The issue with those lanes being too many, which we have, is the world competition. It doesn't exist.
Right.
And that's what's already happened with IPF and the powerlift, right? So the natty world, that's already happening. In the untested world, that's been a thing. There's no real worlds, and there's no real bracket or ladder to say you're the best, besides your total or dots. And that's fine, but it'd be better if we get the world's best head-to-head in some type of qualified bracket.
Yeah.
And gyms like ours have to focus more on the gen pop
Yeah.
fitness community. That's my worst case scenario. So
What do you lean towards in your brain? That happening or better things happening?
It's hard for me to believe that it's going to continue running as hot as it is now, regardless of what happens. That's kind of what I think, because everything goes in cycles.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we're at the peak right now.
No, in terms of
this is like a
cycles,
second peak or third peak in the course of the time I've been involved in this.
That's what I was going to say. In terms of cycles, I actually think we're at a plateau.
We could be.
Yeah, I think a big peak was obviously like 14 to 17.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure the data shows memberships in the sport. That was a huge peak.
So I can tell you, shout out Marshall Powell. He runs the USAPL social media. He put out this graphic a little while back showing our membership rates, and we actually did hit a new, at least in the USAPL, we hit a new PR on that. I think it was like 27,000 nationwide or something like that, which is really good. And I don't think that includes the new international affiliates, which is really good. Like that's the most members we've ever had. But that's not by much. That was only by like a couple thousand, whereas you saw it just growing exponentially.
Yeah. 2012, don't quote me, but 2012 to like 16, I think it went from like 10,000 to 20,000.
Oh yeah, double,
which is insane.
And again, don't get me wrong, like that's still good that it's growing, but I actually kind of agree with Mike on this one. I do think that we're maybe not quite at plateau level, but I think we're about there. And I think that a lot of what we just talked about has to do with the reason why the sport is plateauing. I think
more fragment.
Yeah, well, fragmentation, and I think a lot of the difference between the actual consumer, so the younger individuals who are coming into the sport that are excited about it, versus the older generation that's currently running it.
Yeah.
You know, like they still kind of see this sport as, you know, I want it to remain fragmented. I want to stifle competition. I want to keep things the way they always have been, because that's just what I want. And you know, you're younger than me and you don't know any better, even though like that's just not the good mentality to have.
Yeah.
Like I see lifters younger than me that have lots of great ideas that I think about, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like you mentioned, you know, TikTok being something that's actually kind of vital to the growth of the sport. I mean, I think social media in general is, but like TikTok, for example, half the reason why I enjoy having a following on TikTok is because I can introduce powerlifting to kids. I'm so like, I think my favorite part about having a TikTok is embarrassed as I am about it when people bring it up, I love the fact that there have been kids that have come up to me that were just like, I started powerlifting because of you. You introduced me to the sport, and I just did my first meet. Like that, I don't know, that makes me like emotional. It's really, really cool.
I think that is the reason why I can go into exactly what I think is bad or might be bad in 5 years, but I think that's the reason why I think we're still heading in a good direction, because the mass, if we found a chart, the mass of the community is even younger than me now. And hopefully they've had a good enough experience or see enough of the potential in the sport that in 5 years they'll be me and they'll have some kind of power or idea to put rubber to the road. You know what I mean? And obviously we have decades together, and that's why we're trying to put rubber to the road in our gym, but there'll be more people thinking like us rather than like, oh, this is powerlifting, this is how it goes. It's like, no, this is what powerlifting could be. And so that's where it makes me think the potential is still high. In terms of what I think is shit or what could be shit in 5 years is similar to yours. I don't know about the social media stuff, because I think even if TikTok disappears, there's always going to be a new thing, and there's always going to be the next one. So Instagram would be more powerful again, or YouTube
Shorts.
or whatever. So I don't necessarily think that'll hinder our growth, but I do think the fragmentation and the politics within the old boys club, which isn't just the USPA. Everyone thinks that, you know,
no, it's not.
I can't
clearly
point fingers and I can't pull up texts of every pervert, but like fitness is just, life is full of perverts, and fitness is especially full of perverts and pieces of shit. And so like that old boys club type shit is happening everywhere in every company, in every federation, fitness or non-fitness. So don't be stifled out there, bros. That you know, it's cool that we're cleaning up the USPA or getting to some real shit, but that's everywhere.
Yeah,
none of that surprised me. There's not one thing. I mean, the pussy juice was a little surprising. Honestly, that's
nobody expects the pussy juice.
That's not the worst of it, right? That's the lighthearted one of all the darkness that happened.
Yeah,
but that was the most surprising.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a take to piss somebody off.
Yeah, that's a step to the left. I was not.
Yeah, go slash a tire. Yeah, what happened is TPing a house.
Yeah,
That's I don't, just to speak to that as well. I think one of the things holding the sport back, and that could potentially like in 5 years ruin things, and that's kind of where I was going to go with my take, is exactly that. I think that the older generation refuses to step aside or refuses to listen as far as new ideas when it comes to powerlifting. They try to make the sport more restrictive in the wrong ways, and it kills growth. I'll give you an example, and again, you know, obviously there's a million different people handling things. This isn't, you know, any offense to the collegiate committee for USAPL, but there was a big uproar recently for collegiate nationals in USA powerlifting. Nowhere near as controversial as any of this other stuff we're talking about, but there was a proposal made at last year's nationals to make collegiate nationals into a teams only event, and as we know,
which, like, in theory doesn't seem terrible.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But hear me out. The collegiate age is where the majority of the growth in the sport is happening right now. And
they're the culture. They've been the culture of everything. They're the culture of music. They're the consumers of clothes. That's the culture.
Yeah. So that got voted down almost universally at the meeting, thankfully. But what the collegiate committee did instead is they made it so that teams mind you, if they paid an astronomical fee for this, which is another conversation entirely, but they made it so teams would have a special access code that would allow them to register for collegiate nationals earlier than anyone who wasn't on a team. And
yeah, which kind of sucks, right? If you go to a school that doesn't have a team,
well, yeah, exactly.
but you're one of the best, or your money and time is worth anyone else's money and time.
And yeah, so many collegiate level athletes are not doing collegiate nationals this year because they couldn't get in.
That sucks.
They
that
don't
sounds
have
like a cash grab.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And again, the individuals who are on the collegiate committee were just like, oh, collegiate nationals has always been about the teams, and it's just like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but to just automatically shut down the chances of anyone to actually get into the meet. Now, I shouldn't say that. They did open the window, but
You're right. There's obviously a crammed window.
yeah, exactly. A lot of people didn't get in because they didn't sign up immediately.
Stack the deck.
And yeah, it's just to me that's not a good decision.
Yeah. It's not my fault I go to fucking eastern northern Montana.
Yeah, like when I was in school, when I was in school at Syracuse, I wanted so badly to start.
Syracuse? I didn't know that.
Yeah, go Orange, baby.
Is that Kemba Walker? Oh no, he's UConn. What the hell are you guys? Oh, Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah,
There you go.
Jim,
You can have him.
Jim Boeheim, the GOAT.
Yeah, you can have him.
He just genuinely, when I was there, I could not get a team started. Like, they would not let me. They were vehemently against the idea of having any club association, sport association, whatever. So I was up creek without a paddle. Luckily, and this is still the case too. Luckily, I had student status, so I could just go as a non-affiliated lifter and go. But
yeah, it's out of your power.
yeah, it was out of my hands. And there's so many lifters that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them of mine. His name's Brandon Dudley. He goes to Baylor. Super strong kid. Likely would have won his weight class. Would have been a cool experience because he's never done collegiate nationals before.
Yeah.
Got shut out.
And those are two huge schools with huge sports histories that still can't get a powerlifting team, right?
Yeah.
So, talk about being out of your hands.
Yeah, and it's just like the fact that a bunch of people from the collegiate teams, which obviously have a bias towards the teams, made that decision without asking the lifters is really, really bad. And so, again, that's a very small example because, again, it's still it's going to be the largest collegiate nationals ever. I think they have 1,200 lifters or something like that. But, just the fact that, like, some of these kids that just because they're on a team that barely meet the qualifying total are doing that versus the people that are super strong and actually make the meet interesting, make the sport more fun. I don't know. That doesn't rub me the right way, and I think there's better solutions to it than having a cash grab entry code.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, like, I have no problem like saying this out loud. I just think that is a disconnect between the people that are running this versus the people that are actually in it.
Yeah. They're the day-to-day at every meet, talking to the community.
Yeah. So I think, big picture, I think if that continues to go unchecked, if those that are in power continue to not listen to the people that are actually consuming their product
Beyond consuming.
Yeah.
They're every bit of it. Like, they are it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more. That's the thing about powerlifting that makes it so cool is it's more of a community and it's more of a culture than a sport.
Yeah.
Right. And so you start to fuck with that. You can't.
Yeah.
We are it.
And it's the same way with other stuff like the elbow rule and the IPF.
Yeah.
None of the actual lifters were complaining about that. It was comments on social media.
What's it called? Not like racist, but when you fuck with somebody's like how they're built. I don't know, but basically, like, I think that is that because if you have stubby enough arms and any kind of booby or
Body
gut,
shaming?
Yeah,
kind of, but there's a different term
like
I can't think of. There's a different term, but
Okay.
it doesn't matter. If you're built a certain way, you'll never reach that depth.
Oh yeah, there's so many lifters that
I could get
can think of.
close. I could probably make my body with a close grip not reach those standards.
Ableist?
Ableist.
Yeah,
like
that's
ableist.
That's it.
It kind of is.
It kind of, it definitely kind of is.
It walks the line. I know that sounds extreme in me being, on this fucking rah shit, but it walks the line. Because if you're built a certain way, dude, it's going to be impossible to bench that way.
Yeah.
And it's not getting rid of the arch, which we've already talked about all that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, we literally the last time I was here, we were talking about that. But yeah, it's just what it comes down to is in order for the sport to grow, you need to be better about listening to your lifters. You need to be better about just like actually thinking about not yourself when the
or money.
or money. Yeah, which obviously money makes the world go round.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is what will ultimately kill powerlifting in 5 years if that continues to go unchecked.
So what's our best take? What's our best case scenarios for 5 years from now?
I mean, I can definitely start on this one. So best case scenario, in my opinion,
Mr. Brightside.
best case scenario, in my opinion, we see a little bit more uniformity across the sport in terms of just the way that competitions are run. In my opinion, just in general, like stuff like the Pro Series with the USAPL becomes a little bit more sought after, and we get more worldwide participation. And what ends up happening is we start to bring in more and more sponsorships, and eventually we get to the point where at least the top lifters are actually paid to be power lifters.
Yeah, some monthly stipends or something.
Not necessarily. I think in 5 years it would be impossible to have them actually making a living, but enough that it makes a difference that they get to step away from doing more mundane stuff.
Yeah,
that
at least travel, right? At least cover some fucking travel.
Yeah, that they can focus on being the best lifters that they possibly can, and then we start to see the performances go crazy to the point that the general public is like, "Wow, look at powerlifting! Look at what these lifters that are." I guess I'm specifically saying drug free at this point, but I mean it could be the case with like the untested as well.
The other Pro Series, I think it was USPA, sadly, but that was starting to get there, where the prize pools made a difference. Like even now, and maybe Joe can't speak on it because he's a little more attached to federations than I, but like even the Arnold, it's cool they give money, but like if you're not winning first, you're not even paying for your trip.
Yep.
It's a 3K trip. And you're winning 3K to get second. That ain't cool.
The floor should be some kind of a stipend, and then winning purses on top of that.
For sure.
Yeah, I think
top 10 or something. I mean, that's obviously when you get into the Olympics, it starts to work that way, but it's also based on popularity and politics too, because even Olympic weightlifters in America, their stipends are babies compared to a stipend of probably a track person, even though I can't quote the exact dollars, but I imagine, and so like that sucks too.
So when I had the Pro Series director job, and I won't get into why I don't have that anymore, my idea that I was talking with Josh Rohr about was eventually I would like to see it to where if you make the Arnold Classic for the Pro Series finale, which is the top 10 point scorers, you automatically get a stipend for the year, provided that you pass all of your drug tests.
Yeah,
and
sure.
then there
should be a bunch of rules.
Yeah. A lot of
if you start getting paid, you better follow some rules now.
Yeah, and then the only other stipulation is like you are now the face of the federation.
Right.
You're going to be on our media, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
You agree to all that.
Yeah, a little likeliness contract and shit. Yeah, it's more of a sponsorship.
Yeah.
That all makes sense.
But for that year, you have now earned a stipend, and you get to officially be not just a pro powerlifter, but a pro powerlifter that is getting paid to powerlift.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way that, again, like the USAPL can work on growing the sport, rather than me traveling places to have to do videos with Avi and big lifters. They should be doing that. How's that not already a thing?
It actually is.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, I know that they're working on doing some documentary type stuff for like the higher level lifters.
It's just a no-brainer to me. How did they not do that 10 years ago? Yeah. Again, talking about the lifters and the content creators moving the sport, moving the needle, making you fucking money when you ain't doing shit for us.
Yeah. Well, luckily they're stepping that up, and I am happy to see that that's
it's a good idea.
That's happening. But yeah, what I now, if we're talking 10 years in the future, what I would really love, and I know we only said 5, I would love it if we could see where, like, if you're top 10 in each weight class, if you're getting a stipend, even if it's a small one.
They're even top 5.
Yeah, top 5, sure. Yeah. Like if you place top 5 because we award top 5 at nationals. So yeah, if you're on the podium at nationals,
you get a year worth of stipend.
You get a year stipend as long as you pass all your drug tests. I think that would be the best possible place we could be in.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I would like consolidation on the natty and not natty and the bars and not, like, let's just tighten that up a little bit, Mine are obviously way more general than Joe's because his nose is in the game, but just having one federation untested, one federation tested, a little bit more bracket style, and Joe and I in private talked about how that's hard in powerlifting, right? Where like playing 8 games in basketball in a month isn't crazy, but you can't do that in powerlifting, right?
Yeah.
So to have too much of a tier, but something a little bit more along the lines, both drug tested and non-drug tested, to have kind of a bracket style. It's just over a year, obviously, rather than months, to get somewhere.
It might take a 2-year cycle or an 18-month cycle.
Yeah, and I'm not against that either, right? That's what the Olympics does. You know, I'm not. Yeah, like who says we have to have nationals and worlds every year? That's a made up rule.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, so to have like maybe the Arnold every year, but nationals maybe only every other year or something, I'm down for shit like that, where you need a qualifying shit to really build up, to really earn that fucking spot. Like I think that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, stuff like that, and then it makes the money worth it. It makes the show worth it. Why is the Olympics watched? No one likes those fucking sports. It's because it's every 4 years. You know what I mean?
Right, because you only have to commit to watching it every 4 years.
Yeah, you got 2 months every 4 years, right? And so powerlifting, sadly, might be the same. Like, it's okay if the local stuff doesn't get that many views, but make them mean a little something, and maybe, whether it's qualifying totals or combined totals, and we reward consistency over a couple years, maybe, to get to somewhere. I think that would be cool. But the biggest thing is just these federations, I think, waking the fuck up and knowing that you need us more than we need you. Mm-hmm. That there's people on the ground trying to help your fucking ass. And I'm talking all federations because I'm dealing with all you motherfuckers now. You need me way more than I need you. And again, huge shout out to JP Price and obviously Joe and Brianni making statements, and Pioneer making a big statement, and just running their fucking biggest meet of the year in the untested with no federation.
Yeah.
Because we don't fucking need you.
Yeah.
I can get good judges that didn't take your fucking 5 questionnaire test, bitch. You know, and we could still be consistent.
So mine actually kind of builds on things that both of you said. One of them is definitely consolidation, and consolidation in such a way that there are no more federations that are owned by a single person.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer, right?
And these federations should be nonprofit organizations. They should be held to that standard. That'll eliminate some of the weird profit motive shit.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and literally like salary structured, so you don't have to
public knowledge,
all that stuff is out there. Obviously, we talked about background checks. At the very least, the people who are responsible for youth sports or youth lifting should be background checked.
Yeah.
And that's super clear. The rest of us, maybe it's a caveat emptor kind of situation where, buyer beware, but in terms of like kids, let's fucking protect the kids for God's sake.
So dumb.
We have to figure out some way to make a product that is worth it for sponsors to get behind.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like, but the road toward paying people is not taking money from lifters. It's taking money from.
Maybe it is though, because I don't know where that money's going.
Well, that's a good point, but
if we have that transparency, now we can make a decision. But your transparency's got to be number one.
Yeah.
I will say just very quickly to the USAPL's credit, budget discretion is first thing that happens every single year at the
public knowledge
at the national meeting, and it's always available on the website. Good. So shout out to them on that.
What was I going to say? And then probably a sweep of people who want to build petty little fiefdoms out of their role in powerlifting.
Yeah.
There's so much ego tied to all this.
Yeah, and like it's not about you. Like figure out that it's not about you. Yeah. Figure out that it's about doing the best thing for the sport and for the lifters. Yeah. It's not about you.
We can speak to that on this meet that we're about to host. A lot of the money that we brought in from the entries just went right back into
equipment, our judges, travel.
Yeah, and we don't have like any top line sponsors or any outside of our own companies.
Yeah,
we have none.
Yeah.
And hey, if anybody is just sitting out there on a wad of cash and they want to throw it toward
you can
this
eat
meet,
it this way, but
you can throw it this way, and we'll put you on the live stream.
But
we'll do whatever we need to do.
Because our priority when building this meet is how do we make it smooth and safe for the lifters, rather than how do we monetize it.
Right, exactly.
We started cutting. We had ideas on how to monetize it, but we cut that first because we want these other things to be a priority.
Yeah.
And we literally did. We spent $20,000 on equipment just to build the best meet we can.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is a big difference. And I don't want to call out names, but motherfuckers out here going sponsorships first, putting their name on meets, putting all like, bruh, who is it for? Yeah, who is it for? Your 5 seconds of fucking fame, or is it for the community?
Yeah.
I think a big issue with the old head conversation and even people running meets conversation, and this is something that happens everywhere with gym owners now, right? Because people see the clout and they see the money that's potentially made in here. It's not like by the lifters no more, and that's such a cliche saying, right? Like for the lifters, by the lifters, or created by lifters, or run by lifters. But like, if you haven't competed and had your feet wet in this sport or in the community, even like, why are you even here? And I don't want to gatekeep them because I'll let anybody in.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, get your feet wet, coach a bit, spot and load a bit, ref a bit, judge a bit. And now you can start to level your shit up. But if you're just in here to make a quick cash, but you're not giving back to the sport, I should have posted on my story, but there's a memory of me doing seminars. I did like 1,000-person seminar for free. I'm just trying to help people learn how to deadlift. I made $0. I made zero anything. And again, I'm not fucking St. Michael or something, but the point is I've put my feet in, I've put my work in to want to actually help the sport. I didn't just hop in this thing to grab YouTube views.
Yeah.
Where that's sadly the negative of the social media aspect. There's a lot of good of the social media, but a lot of people see, oh, Larry Wheels makes a bunch of money because he deadlifts. I'm going to deadlift and make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that people sometimes get into things with good motives, and then money starts to fuck it up. It's like,
for sure,
or just the sense of how to be successful.
For sure,
because that changes, and you change your game, but the things you lose when you change your game,
yourself, that's
any
kind
issue.
of morals.
And then I think going back to what you were saying about building the personalities of lifting from a more objective documentary standpoint, as opposed to that person's YouTube channel or whatever. I think that people who know how to craft those stories will bring more fans to the sport for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately growing the sport has to come down to like the mentality of, yes, we can make money, but it's still down to the service of the sport being better in the first place. Like when you approach with that mentality, that's what gets you there.
I don't have anything else other than Mike and I can argue about Brock Purdy and
poor Brock. Pussy.
Yeah, but he completely torn UCL. He needs Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, I believe it.
He couldn't accurately throw more than 5 yards. So I get that. Like if you're gonna go out there and you say, okay, I'll do this, but I'm gonna fucking suck, and I'm not gonna.
I would have
contribute
done
anything.
it. If I spent, how old is he? 25. If I spent
24, 23.
If I spent 20 years, and my dream is in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm doing whatever the fuck it takes. I'm drop kicking it. I'm rugby kicking it to some motherfucker.
But he might have been allowed to do that either. So who knows?
No, obviously the coaches were making calls, but I don't know. I hate Patrick Mahomes, but that dude kind of went out like a savage at least.
Yeah.
New episodes Friday, Wednesday. Joe, plug away. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Joe_GameDay. Check out all the informational content that I'm putting out on there. TikTok at the Joe Stanek. YouTube, which starting up this week. Seabass behind the camera on the editing. That's I think it's just /Joe Stanek on YouTube. And check out Game Day Barbell.
Texas, shout out.
Yeah, Austin, Texas. If you're ever in the area, come get a lift in. Say what's up. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, brand new episodes every Wednesday, Friday. New shirts going live. The collaboration with Game Day will be live, I believe, Monday the 6th. 3sb.co for all your clothing needs, and that's where the collaboration will live. I'm Silent Mike, where you want to find me, and we'll catch you in the next one.
I just want to shout out the fact that it's Jackie Robinson's birthday.
Oh, awesome.
As we're recording this, and there's a quote that I saw today that sort of feeds into what we've been saying today here, and my phone's going to unlock so I can actually read it and get it correct. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives.
Beautiful.
So we're going to leave you with that thought. I am at DJ McD on all the social media. This show is 50% Facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network, where you can actually check out Joe and Tim on
Stemmed Out.
And we'll talk to you Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah.